Have you ever wanted to take your blockout character and start adding details to bring it to life? In this tutorial, we'll be doing exactly that, using ZBrush every step of the way. If you're ready to level up your sculpting, this tutorial is for you. Hi creators, welcome back to Academic Phoenix Plus. My name is Monica and I am your guide through ZBrush. In the last video tutorial, we created a blockout of this awesome character, Adora from She-Ra. In this video tutorial, we are going to merge this blockout and start adding the details all using ZBrush. If you're new to this channel, I post tutorials on a weekly basis. Software includes Maya, ZBrush, Substance Painter, and so much more. If that is your sort of thing, please consider subscribing. So bring out that creativity, open up that software, and let's go ahead and get started in merging and detailing Adora from the Netflix show She-Ra.
We have all of our subtools and we need to start detailing our character. So we basically have our basic shape. If I click floor and I turn off the perspective and make sure that I'm actually viewing it in the front view, my character matches relatively well. Not perfect, but relatively well. And if I go to the side view, for whatever reason, ZBrush loses the file. So if I go up here at the top, we have draw. I'm going to drag this back over here. And if I go to left, right, it shows that it's actually there. But when I open up the textures, the reference image is not there. So that means I have to re-import it. So I'm going to go to textures, import, and I am going to go into my desktop, click on that. And then over here, I can basically reset it. Now remember, I flipped it. And there we go. So now my reference images are now. So we want to start adding details to our character. And the details, as you can see, has a range. So we have like this jacket, we have belts, we have gear, we have pants with boots and hair, and of course the ears and nose. I would like to start with the head and then just kind of start moving down. So when you're going to do the nose, because if you take a look at it on this view, you'll notice that I don't have a nose. And the hair and everything, click on X, that activates my symmetry. So now whatever happens to one side, it happens to the other. To create the nose, it's going to be basically spheres. So just like what we always do, we're going to append a sphere. If you want to select the model without going through all of this, you can actually click on Alt and then click on the model and it will select the model. And we can also organize this a little bit more. So for example, I can actually create a folder so that I don't have to scroll through this whole thing. Over here, there's something called new folder, and I call this like legs, and it creates a folder. And what I can do with this folder is drag the legs there. Now it took the sphere, so I'm going to try to drag it out. And let me go back up to the top, grabs the leg, right, this one, and then create a new folder, call it legs again. And then start dragging all of my pieces in here. So this is just going to help organize my list because it's going to get really busy and we're going to be scrolling a lot. So that's basically my legs. Then I can grab, let's see, my arm here, create a new folder, call it arms. And here's my shoulder. I can drag this to the top, above, right below my head. I can select it and let's go ahead and scale. I'm going to turn off symmetry and let's scale this little guy. Turn on the floor, make sure you are in a view. So for example, maybe I want to be in front view. Just kind of place this little nose here, go to the side view and intersect it. I'm going to zoom in. And then of course we can sculpt from here. So I'm going to grab the move tool. Now you'll notice that down here we actually have tools and it shows clay buildup. It shows standard, damp standard. The move tool, trim dynamic, it's got the main ones in here. So you're more than welcome to just grab it from here or start get comfortable with the B for brush, M for move, and then V for the move. I turn off perspective because if I have perspective on, it gives me a weird looking camera. And without perspective, it always looks very flat. So that's the reason why I keep it like that. All right, let's go ahead and start getting that nose. For the front view, right view. And one of the things that you got to be careful with is that when you do the move tool, sometimes the move tool will grab one side of the sphere and not the other. So that's what happened with this one. So just kind of keep an eye on that. So now I have to undo all that. And I just want to make sure that it actually grabs the part in the center. And another way to avoid that is by making it a bigger brush. So then I can pull. And then I can get a smaller brush and start sculpting it. Let me turn on symmetry. This is a little bit part of like the blockout, you could almost say. So you can turn off the floor and see what that looks like. And now I have a little bit of an anime nose. Now, if you want to kind of soften it, go ahead and hold down Shift. And I now have a little anime nose. Now there is anime eyes if you guys are interested in. So for example, I think it's in here. And there are things like mouths and things like that. I think these are the more realistic ones. So if you guys are creating realistic figures, you can probably use these. Right, let's take a look at Chisel Organic. We've got eyes, we have noses, we have all types of stuff. And I believe one of these actually has like an anime mouth. There you go. So we have an anime mouth here. We do have an anime eye and eyebrows and things like that. So if you want to like use this to kind of get you to look more like anime, because my character is very anime, I could use this kind of like as a guide to that. But first, let me divide because my subtool is really low. Let me grab the head. That one's at 74. So let me divide, which is now at 100, still pretty low. Let me turn off symmetry. Let me grab the mouth and see if I can use this one to sculpt. Now you can see that my geometry is starting to break. So again, I'm going to divide. And if you want, you can use this to kind of get an anime mouth, at least started. I can use this as kind of like a reference. So let me turn that off. And fairly quickly, I have a nose and a mouth. They do have anime eyes, but they're not great. So if you want to make your character look kind of creepy, or you can try, holding Alt and yeah, so not great. Let me start working on the hair. So just like what we've done before, we are going to append. You can click on Alt and click on the sphere and it will select it. So it's right here. And I am going to be using my references to get an idea of where this is going to be located. So obviously this is going to be small. I'm going to drag it over here. And you can grab the move tool from down here, make it larger. Let me check my symmetries off, which is fine. And then just kind of start getting the shape of the hair. Let's take a look at it in the front view. Let's zoom in. Sometimes the drawing is not going to match your reference image. So if something doesn't really match exactly, then you might have to just make some creative decisions. All right, so let's take a look at it in the side view. You can see that even though I just did the roundness of it, you can see that it's already messing up the design of it. So that means I'm going to have to go in and just make sure that everything's a little bit rounded and it's not going to match exactly right. So it is what it is. I'm just going to do the best that I can. She has a ponytail. So what we can do is just append another object. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this here and just start working on her ponytail. I think it might just be easier for me. So let me just go like this. And then again, we can grab the move tool, make it pretty large, and start dragging it out. For the smaller pieces, there's a couple of ways we can tackle it. I'm going to just go ahead and model them separately. Push this in, push this out, and then attach them. But let's see if in my reference image, I have a back view. So my back view, she's got that kind of like dynamic hair, but it's thinner up here and it kind of swishes out. Let me just grab this. I might have to go it this way. So let me go to the back view and then just kind of nudge as well. Now you can see that my geometry is starting to break. And I can always remesh it. So we're starting off with this ponytail. Again, just kind of take a look at it in all views. If you want to, you can also mask it. So there's a big chunk here in the back. Let me go ahead and mask this, reverse it, and then you can start moving it. So that's another way we can kind of get this character to kind of look like she's got a bunch of hair. So we can just kind of move it and try to use our reference. It's not gonna, again, it's not gonna be perfect like at all, since the drawings are so different. Hold on shift. It kind of gives me something to work with. And then let's go ahead and mask another portion. Let me remove the mask. Let's try again. I'm gonna grab the move tool and you're gonna see that it starts to break. So it might be a good opportunity for us to just go ahead and Dynamesh. So let's go to Dynamesh, make sure your resolution is high. Dynamesh. And now the geometry is actually significantly more even. So now we can go in and mask a portion of it, reverse it, grab the move tool, make it large, and then try your best to design it. And then take a look at it in a different view. And let's see, it's over here. So this is kind of like again, I'm gonna have to remesh it again, but it kind of gives me kind of like here. Then you can just kind of puff it up and stuff like that if you want to make some changes. You can Dynamesh again. We can hit smooth to smooth it out because it thinks every wrinkle there I want and I don't. So we can just smooth it out because right at this point we're at 100,000 points, right? And you can see that I'm starting to get the detail of the ponytail. Let's see if I can make it like more dynamic. It's kind of neat. And it takes practice, just like anything else. It's not going to be perfect your first time or second time or third time. All right. Is it looking like Adora yet? Well, she's missing a lot of her key components, but it's starting to get there. But let's work a little bit more of that head, and then I'm going to start focusing on the body. I'm going to select it. What I want to do is get that jawline. So I'm going to grab clay buildup, and I'm going to, instead of building upward, I'm going to actually remove. Now, take a look at your count. You're going to notice that mine's at 70, and that seems a little low to me. So I'm going to go ahead and divide, which is going to get me up to 400. And I'm going to basically start building the jawline. And hopefully I have symmetry on, which I don't. So let me undo that and make sure my symmetry's on and it works. So whatever I do on one side, it does it to the other. Great. And once again, just hold down Alt and start digging it. Once you think you have the basic shape, you can hold down Shift and just kind of smooth it out. So we now have a little bit of that jawline. If you want a sharper jawline, feel free to use polish because that will get you a nice clean surface. All right, let's fix this part. Might have to use clay buildup here to just kind of make sure that transition is there. Let me make sure I'm not doing anything crazy because the transition should be here to here. So with the mouth, you want to use clay buildup so that you can build the lips. And again, if you feel like your geometry is kind of low, like I'm finding mine to be kind of low, you can always divide again. And that's going to give you a little bit more mesh, but don't forget your widow's peak. And just kind of add that in over here. It's usually caved in a little bit. And then again, I just kind of smooth it out. The bottom also gets a little love. And what I like to do is use the dam standard to kind of give it a little bit of an outline. Going the other way, out. And then this one can be pushed in. right? So when I smooth it, it's going to give me a sharper kind of lip. Ears. I was hoping that I could find an anime ear. Let's see. We have some ears, and I just want a simple ear. So let's see what this looks like. Whoop. Okay. Let's see if I can get my character. Her ears are like over here. All right. So that can work. Let me see the side view. So close. Let's see if I can do it again. Oh, nuts. Other side view. That might actually work. And then I can use the dam standard to kind of get more details. But in general, that should be good enough for a very stylized character. She's coming along.
All right, next we're going to start working on the legs. So over here in our subtools, we have a folder with legs in them. And what we want to do is make sure the left thigh is going to be connected to the left calf, which is going to be connected to the left foot. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to start merging them down. So we're going to select our left thigh. Down here at the bottom, we have merge. We're going to open up merge, and then we're going to click on merge down. Click OK. And then this is going to merge them together. Then we're going to merge down, click OK. And now the leg is basically one piece. Once we do that, we can do the same thing for the right. So here's the right calf. We're going to merge down, click OK, merge down. And if you want to stop clicking OK, you can always say OK, just skip this part so you don't have to. And then now we have our left leg and our right leg. And of course, you are welcome to relabel this. So we can click on rename, and this is going to be our right leg. And then we can select this one, rename, and this is going to be our left leg. Now that we have that, we can start dynameshing it, because even though it looks like it's one piece, the reality is that it's two separate pieces. So for example, if I grab my move tool and I start dragging it, or if I try to smooth it, they don't actually smooth together. So we have to dynamesh them. So let's go down to geometry. We're going to go to dynamesh. Make sure you have a pretty good resolution. You can see this is what it looks like. And then we can click on Dynamesh, and now they're merged into one. You turn this off, and now we can go ahead and hold down Shift to smooth, and you can see that now they've done a really nice job merging together. Hold down Shift to smooth it out. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing to the right side.
I'm going to grab the pelvis and drag it into the group. And then I'm going to select it. And like I mentioned before, merge down, click OK, merge down, click OK. Because I want them to be connected, I'm going to go ahead and increase my resolution, dynamesh it, and now they're combined. Now, if you need to, you can use the clay buildup. I should probably turn on symmetry. You can build anything that's a little weird. You might just want to go in and just kind of add a little bit of mesh to it so that it blends a little bit better. But in general, usually you can just kind of smooth it. So now that we have that, areas to focus on is the boots. Grab a mask, and my symmetry is on, so that's going to make it easier. And then I can extract. So you can do two things. You can either extract, but if you want to keep it all one mesh, you can in fact just reverse it, and you can deform it. Don't forget that we have deformations, and we can inflate a little bit. And then I could start kind of smoothing it out. Just gonna go in and smooth it out a little bit. She does have soles on her shoes. So one of the things I do want to do is try to get a little flatter. So I'm gonna get a mask. I'm gonna reverse it, unlock it, move this down. And hopefully I can just crush it flat. There you go. So maybe too much. Let me just crush it a little bit so that I get a flatter sole. You can also try to polish it a little bit here. So you can click polish. So that kind of gives me a little bit of a flatter surface. So you just kind of crush it flat. And then once you have that, I'm going to go in and just kind of smooth it out. Okay, so it's got some designs here. So again, I'm just going to mask it. I'm going to subtract it. And I'm going to try to make the reverse it just a little bit. Again, it's a little hard to see with all this transparency stuff. And then I can either, I was thinking about maybe inflating it inward just to kind of give me a little bit of a design. Right? It's far from perfect. So let me see if I smooth it, if it kind of will kind of calm down that really jaggedy feel of it. We can use the dam standard, reduce the intensity, and don't forget the lazy mouse. If you increase the lazy mouse radius, you'll be able to kind of draw. And if you hold down Shift, you can get a straight line. It's a little big, so let me make it smaller. There you go. And now I want to increase my intensity. So again, if you want to make it straight, you just click and drag once, hold down Shift, and it's going to give you this tail. And when you let go, it's going to be a straight line. So again, click and drag, hold down Shift, and you can get a straight line. Lots of options for you guys. That's the thing. It's up to you how you guys want to accomplish it. Let's take a look at Adora again, and we've got some interesting designs going down the leg. I'm going to use the side view. I can click on this, kind of drag it, and then I can go down and just kind of follow this path. And then for this one, I can also follow it. And there's also this one. Can always soften that side. And you can see that we now have boots. Now, if you want to start adding your own texture, grab the bottom, flip it, and then you might want to add some noise to it. So let's go to surface. We have noise. You can see a little bit of the noise. So if you want to, you can kind of scale up the noise. Once you're done, you can click OK. You can click on apply to mesh. And so we now have a texture. Right. So detailing is not just about just getting the basics, but it's also about thinking about what type of texture do you want to add to this part. So for example, maybe I want to add a design element in here, right? So I can go to the side view and deselect parts that I don't need. Let me grab the lasso. And I can just kind of try to grab this as best as I can. And then we can do the same thing. I mean, we can actually maybe inflate it just a tiny little bit. Oops, wrong way. Pink. We could just inflate it just a tiny bit, or maybe bring it outward just a little bit. So just like what we did before, we can click on noise, click on edit, right? We can go to add an alpha. We can grab this cloth. We're going to have to reduce the noise scale. So you can see it kind of like here. We're going to have to increase the, and then we just have to play around with this until we find it, because I always get this part a little confused. Noise, let's reduce the noise. There it is. Let's increase the strength so we can actually see it. And then once you're done, you click OK. So it is going to have this weird stretching on the side, right? So you just have to kind of think like if that's okay or not. And once you're done, you just click apply to mesh, and there you go. Might want to go in there and smooth some edges because it's pretty intense, but in general, that's going to give you some really nice looking textures. What I was going to do is extract her hair. So let me select her hair, her head, turn this back on, and let's get a mask. And I have the lasso, so I think I could just do a nice little outline with the lasso. So just kind of slowly go through. I guess try to ignore the ear. I'm gonna have to paint that out, and there we go. I'm going to remove the ear because I don't want that. Let's take a look at the front view. Don't forget to turn on symmetry. Very important. So I guess I have to double check the ear. Okay, and then deselect the ear. So I'm just trying to be cautious. Let me smooth this out a little bit. All right. Let's go to extract. That's 0.2 at this time. Let's see what it looks like. That's really big. So let's go ahead and change this a little bit smaller. So instead of 0.02, maybe 0.01. Again, click on extract and then click accept. All right, now we have the hair. And let me make sure I select the head and make sure that I don't have a mask anymore. And let me go back to just regular freehand. So there we go. So going back to the hair, I can go in and smooth it out a little bit. Now I've got her hair. I believe her hair is connected. So if I want, I can go in and take this scalp and merge it down. And then as always, remesh it. So let's go to, whoops, I did it too low. Oh, that's okay though. And then I can always divide, just turn off Dynamesh. Let me smooth it out. Actually, I'm going to divide it one more time. So now it's a lot smoother because they've actually merged together. Because they were low poly, it actually worked in this case. Let's work on her arm. So as you can see, her arm has a sleeve, which I can design fairly quickly. And it's got this really cool looking object here. What I'm going to do is combine this forearm with this hand. And let me open this up. And this is bottom arm with left hand. Okay, so I can grab this one and merge down. Click OK. So this one belongs with this one. So merge down. Merge down again. This one's going to be merged down. And then just like every other time, we're going to go to Dynamesh. We're going to increase the resolution. It's up to you how high. Click on Dynamesh. And then select the other one and Dynamesh that one too. Again, increase the resolution, Dynamesh. So let's turn that off. So now our arms are together and we can go ahead and smooth it out. I can grab this one and do the same. Maybe make my brush size bigger. And just gonna go in and something like that. Cool. So now our arms are basically combined. One side has this gear plus the sleeve. So if you want to, you can quickly design that. I could grab the Dan standard and just draw it in. I assume the sleeve goes like this. And like, I'm going to guess it connects to a finger because usually these type of things are connected to the middle finger. So I'm just going to kind of go in and design it like so. Now, if you feel like it's too thick, you can always use the pinch tool. So the pinch tool will pinch the mesh. So it's going to make it feel a little bit closer together. And I actually need to divide. Let me go and divide. Let me get her crazy looking thing here. It's part of her wrist. It's going to take part of her wrist. So let's go ahead and get a mask. And then we can grab the lasso. There we go, something like that. Let me see if I can clean this up a little bit. Okay, so it looks good. Let's extract again. So open up extract, 0.2. Let's see if that's good enough. Whew, that's big. Let's go for 0.009. Extract. It still seems really thick. 0.005. Doesn't seem very big, but that looks good. Accept. Unmask. And we now have this guy. Move it out a little bit. You can actually grab the polish if you want to and just kind of try to get that corner to be have a little bit more transition. And I can soften this edge here too. And again, you can use the polish to kind of help get those edges. And just because I'm a big fan of like texture, I'm just gonna bang it around with my polish. And you can also grab the trim dynamic and do something similar. So just kind of just dent it up because I want to make it look a little bit metallic. So you can just kind of go through and just kind of bang it up a little bit. Again, this is kind of like my way of getting texture for this particular thing. It doesn't have to be the way you do it, but that's just the way I'm going to do it. Something like that. Let's take a look at the design. So the design is pretty simple. Let's see. I'm going to grab the damn standard and I'm going to try to follow what it looks like. So let me turn on my symmetry. So whatever happens on one side happens to the other. Now you can see that my symmetry goes from left side to right side. I need to go into here and probably choose, I'm going to guess Z. So if I do one side, there we go. That's what I want. Okay, cool. I'm going to start from a point and go up, a point, then go up, a point, and then go up. Click, hold on, shift. Peek. Okay, I guess I'll just draw myself. There we go. And then, there we go. Nice. Hooray! That actually worked. Let's clean this section here. Let me grab a mask, reverse it, and just I do inflate balloon. Does that look better? No, it does not. Let's just do regular inflate. Just a tiny bit. Let's see if I can smooth out those edges. Because dang. Let's see. We also have some circles that I did not draw, so I guess I better do that. I'm just going to draw a quick little circle here. Is there a better way? Actually, there might be a better way. Bink. Grab their drag rectangle, and then I can click and drag. There we go. And smooth the inside a little bit, and I'm going to do it again. Whee! Maybe a little stronger.
All right, I think it's a good place to stop. We've done her wrist guards, we have done her boots, her pants, her hair, some details in her face. In the next video tutorial, we're going to start working on her jacket, her belt, start adding more details to her face, such as the eyes and eyelids, and so much more. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. If you did, please like and subscribe. That's your message to me, letting me know that you like this content and that you want to see more. Also, don't forget to take a look at academicphoenixplus.com. There you will find free resources such as ebooks, 3D models, and so much more. So take a look at academicphoenixplus.com. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Keep creating, and I will see you next time in the next tutorial where we're completing Dora from the Netflix show She-Ra.